Okay. Hi, guys. We are back this week. And this week, I'm going to show you guys how I dye fabrics. So a lot of you guys are wondering, like, how do I change, like, say you have like a white bustier or something like that, or like a t-shirt, and you want it to be like blue, or you want it to be a nude color or something like that. You can actually dye your fabrics or your garments. So I'm gonna start. Well, here you need these things. You need a bucket or something big. I would usually use like a sink, like a big sink, so the fabric can move freely in the dye. But I'm not at a sink today, so I'm gonna use this bucket or this bowl, and it has water in it. It's filled with water. You need the dyes. I'm gonna dye it blue, so I'm gonna use Ritz dyes, and I'm gonna do like a mixture of these two colors, these two blues, and salt, a little bit of dish soap, and I have some hot water here because this water got a little, got a little cold. So I'm going to use this hot water to make it hot again, and a spoon to mix it all together. So let's get started. All right, so you're going to take this hot water. I'm going to put this hot water in here so that it can be steaming hot again. All right. You want to make sure there's enough water that it covers the entire t-shirt or garment or fabric that you're using. And then I'm going to put a little bit of salt. There's like actual measurements on how you do this. I've been dyeing clothes for a while now, so I just kind of like eyeball it. It's kind of like seasoning, like when you season food, like you don't really got to do the exact directions that are on the back of the or on the, on the recipe. You just kind of like feel it out. So that's what I do. And basically, what the salt does, it kind of like makes the color more intense. And then what the dish detergent does is make the color more vibrant too, as well. So you just put a little dish soap in there. You don't have to put a lot. Again, I don't do the exact measurements that they tell me on the. I just kind of just do whatever. Mix it all together, and now you want to add the dyes. Again, I just kind of pour whatever I think is necessary. Obviously, the more dye, the more potent the color will be. So I'm kind of doing half of this and half of this. Not half of the bottle, but like mixture of colors. And then twist that all around. It's like cooking. It's like making a stew. And that's all. That's all you have to do to make the dye. I don't know if you guys can see it without me spilling it, but it's blue or it's dark. And now we're taking the garment. This is like a corset bustier type thing that I have that's white that I want to make blue. So all you got to do is dip it in there. I would recommend using gloves, but I don't really care if my hands turn blue. So here we go. Here's what it looks like instantly when I put it in. This is what it looks like. I am gonna leave it in there for maybe, sometimes it depends. If you want it to be like a really, really like dark, like very, yeah, like a dark color, then you would leave it in for a long period of time. It also depends on the garment, but and the amount of fabric that you have. So some people you can leave it in for an hour. You can leave it in for hours. Um, for this, I'll probably do like 10 minutes though. I'm not gonna do that long. And my hands aren't that blue, so we're good. But make sure the garment is fully submerged under the water. Otherwise, it will be splotchy and like the color won't be all the same. All right, so we're just gonna let that sit for like 10 minutes or so. And while I do that, while we wait for that, we're gonna answer some questions that you guys had. I had put on my Instagram like like ask me questions so that I can like see what you guys actually want to know about me. So there's quite a few. So I'm going to answer a couple while we wait for this. Um, so the first question is, I see your mother designs as well. Did you always know this is what you wanted to do? My mom does design, and she actually just got accepted to FITM to like further her fashion education. But she actually just started sewing and designing like maybe 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago when she moved to LA after me. So she hasn't been doing this her whole life either. She just kind of picked this up as well. And I saw like her make really cool garments, like so like she did like a class for like a month, and then she was able to make all these cool, like amazing clothes. And I was like, me styling at the time, I was like, oh, that's cool. Well, let me learn how to sew so I can make cool clothes as well. And so it's not exactly something that I always wanted to do. I wouldn't say that. It's more something that like I took interest in later in life, and now it's my favorite thing to do. Uh-oh. Here's another question. Where do your inspirations come from, and are they related to feelings or visions? Um, mm, I sometimes it just I don't know, it depends. Sometimes like I dream of an outfit and I wake up and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna make it. Other times, I might see something that I really like and I'm like, oh, maybe I can make like an altered version of it or like an elevated version of it. Like I don't like to directly copy from anybody. I think that copying people say that's like the sincerest form of flattery. I don't agree, but I think that taking inspiration is good as long as you tweak it and make it completely your own. And that's sort of what I do. Like I'll go on Pinterest or something like that and see something like really cool that I like. I'm like, well, let me make a variation or take a piece of something here or a piece of something there and just come up with my own thing. Instead of completely copying somebody, I don't really like that. But that's one way that I get inspiration. Also, the dreams or is another way I get inspiration. And I think that's it. Really, just from anything. Um, if I were not creative, what would I be doing? Um, Probably be a doctor. That's what I went to school for. I went to Howard University in DC, and I studied to become an orthopedic surgeon. Obviously, that's not what I'm doing, but that's what I wanted to do. Um, until I started becoming more creative and realizing that I could, do something that's actually fun for me and that I love to do and still get money from that rather than like, taking the route of being a doctor, being a lawyer, or something like that. So, but if I wasn't a creative, that probably is what I would end up doing at this time, but I'm not. Um, Someone said, "How are you killing time being stuck in the house?" I kind of gave myself a little bit of routine. So like I wake up, I make my coffee, I make like a little breakfast, and then I usually, try to sew for a couple hours if I feel like it that day. Some days I don't really feel like doing anything, so I'll just like watch Netflix all day. Um, but most of my main thing I would say of me keeping busy is by sewing and making clothes, and that's how I you know keep my mind going and to also still be creative because you don't want to be stagnant at this time, I don't think. And I feel like I've actually grown a lot creatively during this quarantine time because I've pushed myself. I've been able to create garments out of like scraps of fabric that are in my closet, and it's gained a lot of attention from that. And it kind of pushed me to like be more creative and all of that. Where are you from originally? I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And, growing up in Pittsburgh was different, definitely different than living in Los Angeles. There's not really much to do there, but I went to an all girls school my entire life. But, you know, it's good. It was like a family city. It's really, a beautiful city. but it wasn't like much to do creatively. So I think that's why I didn't get into my creative like bag until I got to college. Um, what is a costume designer? How are they different from a stylist? And do you need to know how to sew? A costume designer is basically the person that makes like the costumes for like movies, for example. So like when you see a movie, you see all the costumes, you see all the actors wearing something. There is a costume designer. So that person comes like looks at a storyline, looks at the script, and comes up with like what would this person wear? What would this person wear in this scene? How would they wear it? Like what accessories would they put on? etc. So they come up with the design for every scene for every person, and then they usually have like a team or something like that to make the clothes, or shop for it, shop for the clothes if they're already made. And yeah, that's basically what a costume designer is. How are they different from a stylist? I would say that a stylist more so like just shops and like styles clothes. Like that could be for artists or anything like that. But like a costume designer or someone who like literally like from head to toe, from start to finish, like creates a story with the costumes. And do you need to sew? You do not need to sew to be a costume designer. You just need to know like how fabrics move, how fabrics work. Um, Basically stuff like that. Like you need to just know like how things work. You actually don't need to know how to do it, if that makes sense. Um, Last question is, I want to start sewing. How did you learn how to sew? Um, Again, I just like YouTube, my mom, my friends who know how to sew. Like it was like a collection of things, but like if I don't know how to do something, I just YouTube it. Like it's actually really not that difficult. Like anybody can do it. Um, my mom just texted me. Let me see. All right, that was the last question from my Instagram. I don't know if you guys have any more questions. Let me look. Oh wait, I can't even see your chat. All right, I think it's been a good amount of time for this. Look how pretty. Pretty blue. So basically what you want to do after this is wash it, which I can't do right now because I'm talking to y'all. But what you would do is run this under hot water at first until it runs clear. So you don't want to see like any of these blue dripplings. And then you also wanted to run, after it runs clear, you want to run it under cold water. So the reason why you keep it in the dye for so long is because when you wash it off, a lot of the dye does come out. So you want to make sure that it's like, enough for you before you wash it out. And if not, you can always just re-dye it. It's not the end of the world. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I don't know what else to talk about. I have like 30 minutes. um, let's see. Elena, do you have any assisting for me? My sister actually works, so she's like not even paying attention, but that's fine. Okay. Well, I don't know who is on this chat, but maybe let's dye some other things. I don't know what else I have to dye that I want to dye. My hands are very soapy, so I'll actually no, I have a towel here. I have a towel right here. No blue. Oh yeah, because I was like, how I can't even see what's happening. What are the questions? Usually takes me about to make a full look. It usually takes me about a day or two. It depends on how detailed the look is. If it's just like a swimsuit, then that's probably going to take me like an hour to make. It's not going to take that long. But if it's like how I've been posting on my Instagram, where it's like multiple pieces, I usually work on one piece per day. So like, say if it's like a bottom, a corset, and like the accessories, I'll do accessories one day, corset the other day, and the bottom the other day. So I would say the longest one that took me to make was the, let me see if I can find it on here. I would say that the 3M look, this look, took me a really long time. Only because the corset, it was like my first time making a corset like that. And corsets take a lot of time and detail to make. And I didn't realize it would take me that long. It actually took me like a full day to make just the corset alone. And so, yeah, it just depends on like the level of difficulty of the clothes. If it's just like a t-shirt, it's only gonna take me 30 minutes to make. If it's like a bodysuit, so it just depends. Hmm. Well, I really like anime culture. I kind of like how like outfits are so unique. Like they're not something that you would see every day just walking down the street. So that's kind of how I design. Like I want to be like a character. So when I think of a design, I'll be like, if I was, an ice skater assassin in this anime, how would I dress? And that's like how I basically design. Um, so yeah, it's not like really stuff that you really see that you could wear every day, like out taking a walk or something like that. But I think that they're really cool in terms of them being unique and that like people who are like bold enough to wear these clothes, you know. Well, I would say that my favorite show, my favorite, I guess, anime is Pokemon. Everyone knows that because, I just like the characters and I like the little thing. In terms of like a design inspiration, it's obviously not Pokemon, but I don't know. I just kind of like look at different ones. I don't really have one in particular, but in terms of like just watching, I like Pokemon. I went to Tokyo to go to the to Pokemon Center, so that was my favorite. But in terms of design, no, I just kind of look at other ones. Right? You guys like the Ice Skater Assassin? That's funny. Who I work with consistently, I work with Migos consistently, not styling so much. We used to style them like back in the first Culture album, but now I do their grooming, and what grooming is it's basically makeup, but we call it grooming for men because they don't like the term makeup. So um, for amigos, what I do is like make sure they're not sweaty, make sure like their skin is even, make sure they're not like, oily on camera. And I work with them the most consistently, and they're also my favorites. They're so fun. Who else in terms of styling? I would say that they're they're probably my favorite. Other people could be a bit picky. They can make the job a little difficult, but some people are really easy too. So that would be tight. Maybe for Halloween. They should put me on the design team. I think that's probably one of my goals is to work on definitely a show. But it'd be cool to make a like for anime to like design the clothes for the drawings. That would be tight. I never thought about that. I think I could do that for sure. Any other questions? I did work on my mom with one thing. It was for a NFL play. Actually, two things. It was for an NFL player. He wanted like five outfits. So what I did was I took the player to actually go to the fabric stores. We picked up the fabrics. We picked up like the hardware, the trimmings, and all that. And then my mom, she actually made all of the clothes for him. So we kind of collaborated on how the design of the clothes would be. And yeah, we worked on that together. I think that we should definitely do like our own thing though. That's not like commissioned. We haven't done that yet, but I think that would be really cool. It's a good idea. Right. Yeah, like a little sub brand. Because I would say her clothes are more like luxury, high end. Like she sells her garments for like 300, $400. I don't do that. So she definitely has more like design skills when it comes to like high fashion stuff. And I think that would be really cool if we could like combine our two things together. Um, average cost, it depends on like the fabric, but it's actually really not that expensive. So like say if you wanted to make like a swimsuit, like the a fabric for a yard of swimsuit material is probably going to be like $2. So, and if you don't have like any other hardwares, you just have the fabric, then it's going to cost you $2 to make the swimsuit. It's really cheap. If it's like the 3M outfit that I made, that one was it's definitely more expensive because I need one more yards of fabric to make it, and also the 3M fabric is a little bit more expensive. I think it's like $30 per yard. So I think I needed like 3 yards to make that. So maybe it's like $60 to make that. Plus like the clamps and like the other like little hardware things that go on it. That those can cost up to it depends, but those could be like $5 to $10 too on their own. So it just depends. It could be expensive or it could be very, very inexpensive. It depends on the garment that you're making. But I don't think I've ever spent more than like $70 on something. Like if it's like leather, then that's going to be more expensive. But I don't think I've spent more than like $70 on fabric to make something. Well, I would say at this time right now, this the quarantine is my biggest obstacle. But I think that personally, my biggest obstacle is just like talking to people and telling them what I do and like being more like proactive and networking so people know exactly what I do. Because a lot of people actually don't know what I do. They just think that I'm like a rapper or like, I don't know, or like a model or something like that. So I think my biggest obstacle in terms of personal for me to get to my next step is to allow people like to see the things that I actually do on a daily basis. And I think that will help me get to the next level of what I want to do. And another obstacle is getting into the union. That's the another big obstacle for me to do movies. And the union is like it's damn near impossible. They make it impossible to try to get into that. But I'm trying. So hopefully that happens in the next few years, and then I can start doing movies, and you'll see my name on the credits. Yeah. Um, Waco is I think it just is what it's called. I just started watching that last night. Eh, no, I finished Ozark already. I finished everything. It's called Waco. I think they just it's about like a cult leader. I think they just put it out this week. And it's like a religious cult type of thing. But it's pretty good. I did watch Tiger King. I well, I think that Carol Baskin definitely murdered her husband. Definitely murdered her husband. She is 100% guilty. She just rubs me the wrong way. I just feel like, but I do like tiger. I love all animals. Um, I do, except for insects and like ugly ones. But I love all like, cute animals and tigers. I am single. David, who is his name? Dave Exotic. I do like tigers, and I do think she is guilty. Yeah, okay, so usually I don't order fabric online, but now I have to because all the fabric stores are closed. But when they are open, there's a place. I live in Los Angeles, so there's a place in LA that's literally like 16 blocks of just fabric stores. So I go there, it's like 10 minutes away from me. I go there. I usually have my go-to fabric spots in that place. I think you need to have like somewhat of a plan when you go there because it's like an overwhelming amount of fabric stores. Like it's just literally blocks of fabric stores. So I go there. That's usually where I get my fabrics. But online, since I've had to start ordering fabric now, what is this? Usually Etsy has good fabric. Can be expensive on Etsy. I just ordered fabric from this place called Fabric Wholesale Direct. The only thing about things now is it's gonna take a while to get all of these fabrics. It said that it would probably take like 3 weeks to a month to get it. So hopefully it doesn't take that long, but that's where I ordered from. So I haven't ordered from them before, but I'll let you guys know in a month how it is whenever I get the fabric. But when the stores are open, I usually just go to the fabric district. And that's it. Make my life easier. I know it's really easy. You just want to make sure that the most important thing is that you make sure that your fabric is like completely submerged and that it can move somewhat freely, so that you can like be able to mix it around, which is what I've been doing this whole time. So just to make sure the cover is even and you don't have any splotches. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's not really that hard to do. Um, I think one of my dyeing mistakes when I first started is that I used too much water, and it kind of makes like the color obviously more opaque. It's like harder to dye. It takes longer to dye. I was like, why is it taking like hours for this to turn pink? And it was because I was using too much water. So, or not the ratio to water, the ratio from dye to water was not, right. So you want to make sure that you have enough dye in the amount of water that you're using. And that's about it, really. It's pretty straightforward. They have the directions at the back of the bottles. Um, I don't, I don't really do exactly what they say on the back of the bottle, but because I don't really think a lot of the stuff is necessary. If you want to do exactly what it says, then you can, but I don't think it's necessary. Yeah. Um. Sometimes it's hard for me to do like very stretchy fabrics. Like it's hard for me to keep like the two sides from slipping. And what else? Another hard thing is like those plastic, like the PVC plastic stuff that I make. Those can be very difficult in terms of sewing because like the fabric is so slippery or it's so sticky. So sticky fabrics are really hard for me to do. There are ways to combat it, but and there's different like things that you can use to help not make it as sticky, but I don't have those things, so that's why it's hard for me. So like, for example, like things that are like this plastic, like this is like hard for me to do on a sewing machine. But sometimes, like if I want to make stuff like that, this maybe I'll do this for next week. I'll show you how I do it. I use like this type of stuff, like these tools, like this. So I'll show you guys this next week. How I use grommets to put pieces together that I don't feel like sewing or that are hard to sew. And not like beading myself. I have used beaded fabric, so that's kind of a shortcut because I don't. My philosophy is to do things the easiest way that you can. So a lot of the stuff that I like, the way that I sew is not, I wouldn't say is technical. It's like not like how if you went to like a fashion school that you would like learn the right ways of like making a pattern of making, sewing things. I kind of do things that like just work for me. Um, but kind of just like, Yeah. Well, my favorite brands are Pierre Moss and Daily Paper. Daily Paper is based out of Amsterdam, and I love their brand. But yeah, Kirby Jean Raymond is like one of my favorite designers. I think he's like for the people. I don't know. Like, people will say like, Virgil, he put on for, people of color for Off White or for Louis Vuitton or whatever. But I feel like Kirby is like really for the people, and he works with Reebok too. So that's like my favorite designer. Uh, ooh, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with anything after this. It just seems like everything's like turned around because it's not like we can. I don't know what's gonna be the outcome of fashion for this. Like if we're not really going anywhere, it's like what do people like want to wear just to be in the house or just to do everyday activities? Because like it's not like we can go to concerts anymore for a while. For a while, they're saying like a year at least. Is that like exactly? That's what I'm saying. Like it's like there's different priorities now. So I'm not sure who's like gonna be spending on these like huge fashion brands just to be like in the house. Like I think people do buy those things just so they can go to a festival, they can go to like a fashion show, they could go to like they want there's places to go to where you can wear these like expensive like crazy pieces. But if there's nowhere to go to, it's like, is there really a future for that in the near future? I don't know. But we'll see, I guess. You never know what's gonna happen. But as in for like the next year, I don't know what's gonna happen with fashion. um I feel like you could tell when someone's like just wearing something for hype themselves because I don't know, I call them hype beasts. A lot of people do, but they're like the people who shop on Fairfax or whatever, who just like wear Bape, who wear Supreme, who just wear like things that everybody they see everybody else wearing. But which is cool. Like I like Bape, I like Supreme, but some people just wear like a full Bape outfit just because it's Bape, but like don't really have style to wear that outfit. And yeah, I feel like those type of people are like the hype people who just like wear things just because they think it looks cool, not so much like because they actually have style. Like I don't really own anything that's like super high end or designer. Like I just, but a lot of people still look at me as something someone that has style. So I don't think that um, you know having those things equates to having style at all. And a lot of times I think that people look whack when they do wear those like hype brands. Not working, I would say. Not be able to be like on set every day. Um, that's like the hardest thing. Other than that, I usually stay home a lot anyway. So in terms of that, it didn't really change much for me. But I think the hardest thing is definitely not being able to like work on set every day. That's like my one of my favorite things to do. So mm. I think I want to just be more. I definitely want to when we come out of this, I want to continue to keep like pushing myself more and more each day, like learning new techniques, because that's like what kind of this quarantine kind of forced me to do. Like I probably wouldn't have learned to do a lot of the stuff that I've done in the last like month if it wasn't for a quarantine. So I think coming out of this, I want to continue to keep evolving in that sense. Okay. So yes, yes. Oh, wait, what's saying? Oh, sorry. I forgot that people can't hear you. So someone is on the line asking me questions, and just in case I didn't know that he's not he can't you guys can't hear him. So what was the question again? I forgot already. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the question was, would I be open to having submissions from you guys, like coming up with characters or like cool characters that I could base a look around? And I would love that. Like if you guys like came DM me or message me uh a cool character that you guys come up with, I would love to create a design around that. And maybe I could do that for whatever maybe I could show you guys how I make the look on one of our next future streamings. So submit some stuff. I would love to see your what character ideas you guys have. And oh, so yeah, so next week again, I'll just show you guys how I do like how I work with grommets and how we do hardware stuff like belts and things like that. Because I feel like a lot of people don't know what goes all into that as well. So we'll do that. We'll focus on that next week. And yeah, that's all I have for today. I'm gonna go wash this out and let this air dry. Usually you could just put this in the dryer or washer and dryer, but I just wash it and let it air dry in the sun. Yeah, yeah. Here it is. Here is the corset. So I'm gonna just wash this and let it dry, and then it will be done. I'll probably actually end up wearing this and posting it tomorrow. So if you guys want to see what it looks like styled with an outfit, just check my Instagram page. Of course. See you next week, guys. Bye.